It's a lonely road for the tired man. You can see it in their faces. 'Cause I'll be home in spring. I can wait till then. Yeah, I heard you're on the big train. And all this too shall pass. This loneliness won't last for long. Ooh, and I wasn't there to take his place. I was 10,000 miles away. So when you hear my voice, when you say my name, may it never bring you pain. 'Cause I don't wanna go when it's time to leave. Yeah, you're on my mind, my destiny. And I won't fight in vain. 'Cause I love you just the same. Oh, and I could have known what's in your mind. And I saw the pictures you're looking fine. And there was a time when I stood in line for love, for love, for love. But I let you go, I let you go. And she fell apart with her broken heart. This blood, this blood, this blood. And it breaks from my skin, it does.
We're live. I'm just going to let you play.
I was like, I don't know if he still needs me to play or not.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to St. Augustine Live and Local. I'm here with Mikayla Martin, who I've been trying to record for months. I think literally like 6 months ago
Probably.
was when I first asked you, and it has never worked out. You were sick, and then you were busy, and then you were busy, and then you were sick, and then you were out of town, and then you were sick, and then I was sick, and here we are.
Here we are. 6 months later.
6 months later. Thank you for joining me. So before, when we were setting up, you started to tell me all the great stuff that you're supposed to say for the interview. So let's start there. When did you start singing?
So I've been singing pretty much since I could talk. My dad's whole side of the family is very musically oriented, even though music was not a big thing in my household. Whenever my grandparents were there or I would go to their house, they had, pianos, they had clarinets, bells, all the stuff. And they always were very supportive of me singing, always wanted me to, were like, you need to be in a, in a chorus or, just sing for your grandmother, sing for the family. But it was them that I felt most comfortable singing in front of. It wasn't until about maybe 3 years ago that I started singing in front of my parents, which was terrifying because I'm like, your parents are your biggest critics. They raised you, you're wanting to be the person that, they raised you to be. But until I started, pushing forward my own music career, I don't think they really realized the extent and the seriousness that I had with it. So, I mean, since I could talk, I was singing, but it wasn't until I was about 17 or 18 that I picked up, a ukulele or a guitar to try and like push forward my own music talent that everyone was telling me that I had. So,
Well, it shows that you've been singing since you can talk.
yeah.
And you said you've been, I'm not supposed to ask a lady this, but since you broached the subject, how old are you?
I'm 24.
You're 24. So you've been
24.
playing guitar 7 or 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And your guitar is just as good as your voice. You have a very delicate touch,
Thank
whereas
you.
I tend to beat on the guitar.
My guitar probably wants me to play it a little bit harder, but I'm like, I don't want to break it.
And tell me about your guitar. That is a beautiful guitar. It's a D'Angelico. And you said you got that in Colorado?
I got it in Colorado. Funny enough, that was really the first time my parents ever heard me sing. So back in 2022, it was before I started grad school. I'm getting my doctorate degree in occupational therapy at the University of St. Augustine here. And it was 4th of July, 2022. Everyone's, having fun. And I had seen this guitar store and I'm like, it makes no sense for me to want to do this, but I'm going to go to the guitar store while you guys take my brother to go practice soccer. And walk into the guitar store. I see one of the D'Angelico guitars that they had there, picked it up, started playing and, singing under my breath just because I was like, I don't want to disturb anybody. And of course, the entire room goes silent, just my luck, as soon as I started singing. And
that was a coincidence.
Right.
That was not a coincidence.
But the owner, he was like, oh, I can hear you. I'm like, no, you can't. You definitely can't. And he's like, no. Play a little bit louder. So I remember the song that I played. I was playing Nose to the Grindstone by Tyler Childers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hate me if I said that wrong. But, everyone was sitting in there and they had this little stage in the guitar studio store. And I played 2 songs, one of which were an original that I wrote around the same time or a year beforehand, and then Stoned by Whiskey Myers. And they looked at me and they're like, how much time do you have? So I was like, I've got all the time in the world. So they ended up putting me on the street out in Aspen, Colorado with the owner who was playing drums. They hooked me up with a guitar. And so I was just singing, and I texted my parents and I said, hey, I'm singing on the street in Colorado. And they're like, this is either a good thing or a bad thing. Are you okay? I'm like, yes, I am fine. Just come to the D'Angelico store. I am playing outside. And my mom tells me that when they were walking up, my dad's like, why is there such a big crowd? What is going on? And she's like, that's your daughter. And, they walk up, and again, they had never heard me really sing before. They heard me kind of mess around with stuff in my room, but I never sang for them, didn't really record anything, never put anything on social media. And about 2 days later, we went back to the store and my dad was like, I'm going to get you that guitar, but I want you to make me a promise. I want you to perform with it, because the Fender that I had was not one that you could hook up. It was just purely acoustic. And he's like, I want you to play on this. So when I moved back home, I found a gig, 2 or 3 months later, but then started grad school. But getting the guitar, I mean, it was just one of those things that I'm like, okay, this isn't just like a Fender, like this is a real guitar. And I was so excited about it. And my dad was pushing me so hard to do it too. And he's one of those people that he's very quiet about, he will tell his kids that he's proud. But there's certain things, like especially with performances that I've done, where he's like, I am so proud of you. And especially with music, that's just never something that I expected him to say to me. But, that was the pride of it, realizing how much I love it, and him being able to see, as well as my mom being able to see how much I love it, how much it heals me, just makes me feel like a whole person.
Well, I've met both of your parents. They've come out to the Tuesday night open mic where I met you many times, and I can just see in their faces how proud they are of you. Yeah. That they glow. They're just as rapt as everyone else when you're singing. So I find that amazing. By the way, you walked into a guitar store, and before you know it, you're playing a gig on the street.
It was terrifying.
Your first gig.
It was terrifying. They're like, we're gonna go get a tip bucket. I'm like, no, don't do that. It was surreal because I have such bad stage
Here's a
fright.
tip: never turn down the tip bucket.
Well, I've got such bad stage fright, and I don't know if you ever noticed when I first started playing at Ann's, my eyes were always closed, and I was about way too far away from the mic.
I understand,
But
I also get terrible nerves, stage fright, and it's easier when you close your eyes. You don't make eye contact. You stay in your little world. I understand it completely. But with you, it just looks like emotion, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If that's the way you like to sing, that's okay. So, now you're another one of the people that I met at the open mic, and then before I knew it, you were playing gigs there, and you had, of course, already played gigs. But the owner, Kelly, heard you sing and was like, "We got to get that girl in here." Now, are you sticking mostly to Ann O'Malley's these days, or you have other gigs? You looking for other gigs? I know you're busy.
I'm definitely looking for other gigs. I love playing at Ann's. That's really the only place that I've not been able to play, but Kelly and her husband have both offered. They're like, "Hey, this day is open. Do you want to play?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Like I would love to. But I hear of other artists who are playing at different places, and I haven't reached out to those places just because I'm busy most of the time. But it's one of those things that I do love to do, and I would love to go out a little bit more. But
well, hopefully after this interview, you'll have some recordings that you can point them to.
Hopefully.
They will. Recordings of you will get you gigs, just like that. Why don't you play us another song?
Okay.
How about the one that we talked about earlier, the one you did last night?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's kind of a newer one for me, so still kind of getting the feel of it, but
it felt pretty good last night.
It felt good singing it. But, most people are going to recognize the song and be like, okay, that's a little bit different than the original.
Okay.
But gotta get a feel for it first. Okay. 'Cause when the night has come, the land is dark, and the moon is the only light you'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand. Won't you stand by me? 'Cause if the sky that we look upon should crumble and fall, and the mountains crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand, won't you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand. stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you have gum in your mouth?
Yeah.
How do you sing with gum in your mouth?
I question I don't know if it's an anxiety thing. I'm like, I've got to have something in my mouth, and it's not there, but it's there. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone sing with gum in their mouth, especially not like that. That's incredible. So that's not like you just forgot to spit the gum out before we started. You have to have the gum in your mouth for it to feel like normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's like a weird story behind it too.
Please do.
So I've got anxiety like a mother. It's not fun. One of the ways that I've always regulated myself, music obviously being one of them, but having gum in my mouth, as weird as it sounds, it's just like kind of like a comfort almost, like just constantly having my mouth moving. I don't really, it's weird. It's really weird. But sometimes, like, if I record myself singing something, I'll take the gum out because I'm like, okay, I sound weird, but then I'm like, I feel weird without it in, so then I'll put like another piece. Like, it's weird. It's really, really weird.
Well, that's okay. It works. Whatever it is. My wife and Luna have joined us.
Hi.
You remember my wife, Rachel?
Yes. I think we met once. Thank you. Thank you.
She just couldn't resist being on my podcast. So your parents are here. Did you grow up here?
I did grow up here. I am born and raised St. Augustine.
Oh, so you're a real local.
I'm a real local.
Wow. That's few and far between. I think other than my friend Warren, who I've not done an actual interview with yet. He helped me work out some kinks in the recording before I got this rolling. He came in and played some songs for me, but he's a local, born and raised. And everybody else, we're all transplants. How do you feel about that?
I remember growing up, and, you go to a place in St. Augustine now to go to dinner, especially on a Friday night, Saturday night. Like, if you want to go get dinner, you either have better made a reservation or you're going to sit there for 3 hours. The bar is right there, though. So there's that, too. But, I went to Florida State for 4 years. And even in those 4 years, it changed so much. I got back and I'm like, there's so many people here. And I didn't realize just how big it had gotten until, I tried going downtown. And I'm like, I can't move anywhere. Or some of the restaurants that I grew up with are not there anymore, which is sad, but it's gotten so big, so expensive. It's hard to keep those places in there. And you've got a bunch of people coming in. You see apartment complexes going up, neighborhoods. I mean, it's crazy how much can change in 4 years. Like, it's been 2 years since I moved back here. But in this time span of those 6 years, it's just changed so much.
Well, I did grow up in not this beach town, but I grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is also a beach town. It also has kind of colonial era, if you will. Not colonial, that's the wrong term, but it has kind of an older South feel to it. It's a little bit like a Charleston kind of a feel, a Savannah kind of a feel to it. And I did the same thing. I went off to college, and when I came back, it had grown like a weed. There was just there were new strip malls, and there were new housing developments, and there were new apartment complexes, and the traffic had increased. And it's just the cost of living in, I think, a desirable place. People want to be there, especially when they're trying to flee crazy situations in the states they used to love, which is what happened to us. That's how we ended up down here, is because St. Augustine is better than what they did to North Carolina. So you're stuck with us.
Darn.
So You've written some originals. I told you to come prepared to play some originals.
Yes.
Why don't you play us an original?
Okay. I've actually got a story behind the first one that I ever wrote. So,
Please do.
When you're young, you turn 21, you make some really dumb decisions. I don't recommend making those decisions. They tell you that you've got all the resources in the world to be as safe as possible, and sometimes you just end up in one of those situations where you feel forced to make that one bad decision, and you're lucky that it didn't end badly. The day, about 6 hours after all of this happened, I'd gotten home and went to sleep, woke up, and I'm like, I screwed up, because things could have gone a lot worse than they did. So I just started kind of messing around with the guitar and ended up writing this song. It's called Drink Too Much, but it's kind of about, the influence that alcohol can have on you, as fun as it can be sometimes. Sometimes it's just one of those things that it just pushes you over the edge just a little bit. Your intuition, your ability to make decisions that are safe, or just it's not there, or you feel like you can't get out of one of the situations without making a safe choice. So this song is called Drink Too Much. Decisions always seem to be the easiest ones to make. Doesn't matter what you lose or if you give or take. All there is the neon lights and that black cigarette smoke, and all else is white noise, and there ain't no way of getting home. Who have you become? This person on the run from the problems you can't seem to face, 'cause you think it's too hard to go that far. The things you wish you could erase. Can't have just one, it's the bottle. Can't be nothing less than full blast on the throttle, full speed ahead. You tried your best, sometimes that ain't enough. One bad thing after another, nothing to drink and fix it one to the other. But alcohol can't always be there. It's not something you can trust when you drink too much. Nothing but a thin line between reality and what you imagine life to be. Dependency will be the enemy. You can't escape from it this time. Tried your best to stop. Ain't no feeling like the top of that high you're always after. Drunken conversation, whiskey medication, and the sound of your drunken laughter. Mind drifting away from the things they say, like how you need to get some help. Why would I listen? It's feelings pure bliss, and I can't think of anybody else. Can't have just one, it's the bottle. Can't be nothing less than full blast on the throttle, full speed ahead. Tried your best, sometimes that ain't enough. One bad thing after another, nothing to drink and fix it one to the other. But alcohol can't always be there. It's not something you can trust when you drink too much. Oh, when you drink too much. More money at the door, less liquor than before. I got a feeling this can't be right. Can't have just one, it's the bottle. Can't be nothing less than full blast on the throttle, full speed ahead. You tried your best, sometimes that ain't enough. One bottle, nothing more than that throttle. But alcohol can't always be there. It's not something you can trust when you drink too much. Oh, when you drink too much. When you drink too much.
It's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Now, I have noticed a pattern in the songs that you like to cover, which is that you seem like you're drawn towards country songs.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite genre?
It is, and it's not one that I've listened to like for my entire life, but it is one that I feel like I can connect with a lot more. I've never been much of a rap genre person, like I'll listen to it, but I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. I'm lost. What are we talking about? And then a lot of the songs that I cover as well, some of them are pop songs. Noah Kahan, who, he's an incredible artist, but he is more on like the pop indie side. So, I love doing covers of his songs, Lumineers, going through to that indie. So indie country is definitely one of those genres that I feel like I connect with a lot more, and that my voice sounds a little bit better with. I can't do whistle notes. I'm not Ariana Grande.
I was going to say that you tend to sing with, let's call it a country intonation, but it's not affected like you hear in certain country songs, which I will not call out. It's a very honest accent that you sing,
right.
And I think it comes from the fact that you are a Southern girl. You're a North Florida girl, as opposed to a Northern girl from South Florida.
Right. Yeah, it's funny how that works. It's considered like Southern Georgia, technically, but...
And even when you sang Stand By Me, you gave it... it probably wasn't intentional, but just your intonation makes it sound like a country kind of a song. And I think that genre lends itself well to your vocals. So you've chosen well.
Thank you.
And I think that like you mentioned earlier, Tyler Childers, same sort of thing. Sort of an honest intonation to his voice as well, and other people. Why don't you give us another song?
Okay.
You just sang so beautifully. I just want to just play song after song. It's like my own personal gig.
I love it. Now it's just a matter of like, on the spot, you're like, which one do I need to do? If anyone's familiar with Whiskey Myers, fantastic band, great live, fantastic live. But also one of the songs that I played before they were like, we're putting you on the street, which, again, someone telling you that sounds a little sketchy, but I'm alive. I'm here. I made it. I made it to the podcast, even after 6 months.
Well, the night is my companion, and the highway is my home. Got me seeking for one last beacon, every single place I roam. They say Jesus was a poor man. Guess I wish I had a little more him than me. Made it easy to go on living. Heartache, misery. Sweet, sweet heart of mine, I'm gonna break again 1,000,000 times. Is this too far gone? Have you turned to stone? Well, I guess I got my bottle. I still hold it all the time, but it keeps me smiling and singing. Helps me fall asleep a little bit better at night. They say life is like a dagger, Sweet, sweet love of mine, I'm gonna break again 1,000,000 times. Is this too far gone? Have you turned to stone?
Beautiful. I'm going to cycle my camera real quick. There we go. I discovered that DSLRs will only record for 30 minutes. It's to avoid taxes.
Love that. We love taxes.
Video cameras are taxed more highly than DSLRs. So,
Are they really?
so it's not classified as a video camera. You can only record video for 30 minutes. Isn't that great? I've mentioned that now that I discovered it in every single podcast. Because I have to explain why the camera stops or why I cycle the camera real quick.
I mean, I wouldn't have known, so.
So you grew up, you're born and raised in St. Augustine. Tell me your favorite St. Augustine things. What do you like to do? What do you remember as a kid in St. Augustine?
Being a beach kid, I know that you were on a beach as well, relating to being on the beach. Every weekend you go to your one breakfast spot, and then afterwards you go to the beach. You go get a pub sub, and you sit there for 8 hours. You get home, you're like, darn, I'm burned, but we still have to clean the stuff. So I surf. I have always been in the water. I was a springboard diver for 16 years. So Water is my home. I think it will forever be my home. When I moved to Tennessee for a year and a half, being as young as I was, I didn't really realize how much of, a Florida girl I was. Being that young, you're just like, oh my gosh, we're moving to a new place. This is so exciting. But it's when you move back to Florida and you're back home and you're like, wow, I really miss this. Both of my parents, my dad grew up in Tennessee, my mom, Alabama and New York. She was back and forth, more so Birmingham. She, they used to tell each other, they're like, we really miss home. And when we got back, they're like, we took home for granted. You don't realize how special of a place it really is until it's not there anymore. You could say the same thing about people. You don't realize, how genuine, how beautiful relationships with people can be until they're gone. Mm-hmm. And, when we got back, we were at the beach Saturday, Sunday, Friday night. We started surfing. I got scuba certified when I was 13.
Wow.
And I'm just a born and raised Florida water person.
Mm-hmm. My wife swims like a dolphin. I do not swim well. I grew up in a beach town, but we didn't often go to the beach. We went to the beach, but not particularly often. And then I had an incident after summer graduation. When I graduated from high school, we went sailing, some friends and I, on the Cape Fear River, and I didn't swim well, and people were jumping in the water, and I jumped in the water, and I was wearing jean shorts and a black leather belt, and I think I had a growth spurt, so I weighed like $135, and I did not swim well, and I boom, sunk, and that was pretty scary, and so I have not really gotten along well with water. And one of the requirements for when we moved down here was, well, one of them was I wanted to be near the beach, because even though I had a problem with water, I still loved the beach. And I was like 50 years old and had survived a brain tumor, and I'm like, my wife and I both worked for West Coast companies remotely already, even before COVID. And we're like, we can work from anywhere we want. And we looked at the entire coastline of Florida. And it was our real estate agent down here, Liz Clinton, shout out Liz, that said, I live in St. Augustine. You should look at St. Augustine. So that brought us down here. And when we were house searching, the requirements I had were I want it 15 minutes from the beach at most, and I want a swimming pool for my kids because my boys, they already swam like dolphins. They take after their mother, and I didn't want them to grow up with my hang up about water. So that's why we ended up in this house, because it has a swimming pool and it's 15 minutes from the beach. So I understand the draw to water. And in fact, you just got a job as a swim instructor.
I did. With diving, you know, I was an instructor for diving as well, you know, for younger kids. And it's just one of those things, like, even though it's not what my career is going to be based around, it'd be great to have like kind of like a side gig with it. Like, my career is not based around singing, but, you know, side gig of it, love it. I was offered the job, and they're like, you're going to be teaching kids basically how to not be scared of water. But to do that, you have to be comfortable in it. And I'm like, I'll go upside down, right side up, sideways, like any way you want me to go. You know, I mean, I'm very comfortable in the water. And, you know, I've always taken, you know, pride in seeing kids who are comfortable in the water. But there are plenty of kids, adults even, who are, they're not, you know, whether that be from trauma, or they were never put in the water, or they were never around it, you know. And, you know, teaching, you know, little kids how to swim, you know, the youngest that we'll be teaching is from 0 to 3. And that's kind of that prime time of learning how to swim. And, you know, I can remember when I was swimming, even though it was a long time ago, you know, I still remember being one of the first to excel at it. I was the first one that got the bubbles taken off of me. And of course I flipped out, because I'm like, why are they taking them off of me and not everybody else? Like, I don't feel comfortable with this. What are you doing? And I flipped out. The next day they didn't even put them on me, and I was fine. But, you know, it's so cool seeing that transition of, you know, a kid being scared of water to all of a sudden they're like, let's go in the water, let's float. And they're just, you know, sitting there and they're looking up, and they just, you know, they start moving around a little bit. You know, it's really cool to see. And I did not really grow up, you know, being around a lot of kids. You know, my brother's 6 years younger than I was, but I was, you know, too young to, you know, change diapers or, you know, do, you know, a lot of stuff with him. But, you know, it's such a cool thing to see. And even when I was a dive instructor, you know, seeing it click, you know, even though it had been so long since I was in the basics, you know, it's like, okay, you grabbed your hands right, that's awesome. Or, you know, you entered the water right, or you did your first flip, like, this is so cool, and you were so excited. It's just, it's such a beautiful thing to see, like, that light up and the pride that they have in themselves as well. And I mean, I love that. Always have.
So you're 24 and you've already been a dive instructor.
Springboard diving, not scuba.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
But still. Yeah, I think you're pretty comfortable in the water, it sounds like. Why don't you play us another original?
Okay. This is actually one that I wrote more recently. My boyfriend and I are about to celebrate a year this coming Friday.
Congratulations.
And my way of expressing my emotion is through music. I've written 2 songs, but both of them came from, you know, an event that happened in my life. So this one was pretty much about him, you know, accepting, you know, my flaws, or, you know, some of the things that I go through mentally, and just being like, I'm here. You know, you can tell me it's like, it's okay that you're here. So this song is called Okay.
The look in your eyes, like a Tennessee sky, stars shooting so high like they got somewhere to get to. I got no excuse to say hell, what's the use from living on a short fuse in the middle of nowhere and home. And here we are, so close yet so far. I never took a hold of the reins. You had nothing to gain from trying to understand my pain caused long ago by some poor forgotten soul. And I got nothing to prove anytime I'm with you, 'cause my flaws you say are perfect and you love me through and through. And here I am, living life the way I know we can. I never knew what life was till you showed me the way. Never knew how to speak till you said go on and say all of your fears and your dreams, darling, you're safe right here. You said help me help you be okay. And I've struggled so long trying to find where I belong. And now that I know you, it's finally clear. My place is here. I now know what life is since you showed me the way. Now I can speak since you let me say all of my fears and my dreams, darling, we're safe right here. You finally helped me feel okay.
That's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
You need to write more songs.
Agreed. I just need that one hyperfixation moment after something happens or a life event happens. I just need more of those.
Well,
Yeah, it's those.
Then
it's
you
those
might have
weird,
to
yeah.
imagine some life events, so you don't have to actually go through them, but you still get the songs.
Good life events, not
life
the bad
events.
ones.
There
Not
you
the bad
go.
ones, the good ones.
There you go. I like it. By the way, shout out to Brendan. He's a lucky man.
I'm a lucky girl. Trust me.
Well, if he's got you writing songs like that about him, he must be a good guy. So, and I've met him; he's a fantastic guy.
He is.
So, as a local these days, what do you like to do in St. Augustine? What's the secret down low info that you have as a local insider? Where do you like to go that is not a touristy spot?
Well, you say not touristy, but
Well, it's all a little touristy.
all a little touristy. It is. Find local music.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some incredible artists, bands, groups in St. Augustine. Shout out to Bad Dog Mama.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
I am hoping to get them on here. I have not approached them yet, but after we get back, we're out of town next week. But after we get back, I'm going to hit them up and I'm going to point them at this episode and say, "See, we have professional quality people."
They're both incredible people, and they are such talented musicians. You know, I mean, you watch them play, and it's like they have so much fun with it.
Oh yeah.
Too, like they're so open about it. They're so comfortable with it. And I mean, it's definitely an inspiration seeing them play. Even just the solo artists that are around St. Augustine. Find your local music spots. You've got shout out to Prohibition Kitchen. You've got live music at Salt Life. You've got live music everywhere.
Oh yeah.
In St. Augustine, Colonial Oaks on Thursdays.
Yep. Milltop Tavern,
Absolutely.
Pierre's Pub, obviously Ann O'Malley's. It's just everywhere you go, you can find amazing live music. By the way, Milltop Tavern. You're gonna get in Milltop Tavern.
I want to get into Milltop Tavern.
Yeah.
Very badly.
We'll work on that. We'll send them a tape. I don't know what they would do with a tape these days, but we'll send them one. But well, thank you so much for coming in. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before I let you go?
I think the only thing really is, if you've got a passion for something, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very hard to open up about certain things, whether that be mental health, struggles that I've gone through, it's always come back to music being like that one healing thing. If you find something where you're passionate about music, pursue it. As scary as it is, because it's terrifying, to learn something new, to perform in front of people, especially if you've got, your own self-doubt. It's such a good feeling to have, people that support you. So, again, if you are passionate about something, go for it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Why don't you play us out? One more song.
Okay. I gotta figure out which one that's gonna be. Let's see. This might be a little controversial. Everyone hears this song a lot. This is Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan. Incredible artist. Mm-hmm. Always has been.
It'll be fine by dusk light, I'm telling you, baby. 'Cause these things eat at your bones and drive your young mind crazy. But will you place your head between my collar and jaw? I don't know much, but there's no weight at all. So I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. 'Cause when I say I miss you, I know that you won't. But I miss you in the mornings when I see the sun. Something in the orange tells me we're not done. 'Cause to you you're just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around. I need to hear you say you've been waiting all night. This orange dancing in your eyes from bulb light. Your voice only trembles when you try to speak. Take me back to us dancing in this wood used to creep. 'Cause to you you're just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I've poisoned myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around. 'Cause to you you're just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around. Please turn those headlights around.
That'd be amazing. When are you going to be at Anna Malley's next?
I am performing there on the 27th of September. That is a Friday.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. This has been Mikayla Martin. If you have a chance to see her, do not miss it, because it is a fantastic show. Thanks, everybody.